Rev up your engines!
Well, you can forget all those ads they had in the Super Bowl and stuff about GM. We're going to be an electric car company. Well, they're starting to slow things down. Mary Barra just confirmed that Buick's first EV will not come to America this year. They also said that the Silverado and the GMC EV production has been delayed. So, GM is admitting people really don't want these electric vehicles. We're not going to keep making all these things. They're going to delay this. A lot of it has to do with their stupidity of what they're making. For example, the list price of a 2024 Silverado EV, the base list, and this is base, the lowest, $94,500. Who wants to pay that money for unproven technology in a pickup truck, right? High price, you're not going to sell that many of them, right? If they were really dirt cheap, people would say, okay, I'll try it, blah, blah. But they can't make big electric trucks cheap because they're huge. They weigh a lot. Electric batteries to move something that big have to be humongous. So those batteries cost a fortune. GM's had problems with their GM Ultium battery production systems. So it's all kind of rolled into a giant storm, a monster storm against electric vehicles. And here's what Mary says about it. Yeah, they always have to put a spin on it, right? We are adjusting our spending plans to make sure we're capital efficient and moving in lockstep with customers. In other words, nobody wants to buy the stupid things, so we're not selling them yet. And of course, to tie in with all this, electric truck production at their Ryan factory is also delayed. And they say till mid-2026, who knows what the future will bring? Now, this is the second time GM has adjusted this timeline. First, it was pushed back to late 2025. Now they're saying mid-2026. They got to put a lot of money into making these electric vehicles. And guess what? If people don't buy them, that money's going to go elsewhere. And you can see now it's already starting to migrate. Well, hurrah, hurrah, hurrah. Toyota is bringing back the Toyota Celica and the MR2. The mid-engine one. Interesting enough, these aren't going to be electric vehicles. They're not going to be hybrid vehicles. They're going to be regular gasoline. They're not using a 3-cylinder engine. They're going to use a 4-cylinder gasoline turbocharged engine. Now, I find it kind of surprising because sports cars don't have the popularity they used to have, but I guess Toyota wants to, again, make their own vehicles. They will not be rebadged BMWs. They will not be rebadged Subarus. They will be actual Toyotas. The MR2 will have a mid-engine 2-liter turbo. The Celica will have a front engine 2-liter turbo, and they will be all-wheel drive systems. They'll offer a 6-speed manual or an 8-speed automatic. I'd say go for the 6-speed manual. It'll be a lot more fun. I mean, those 8-speeds do get good gas mileage. They run fine, but if you get a sports car, you might as well get a manual transmission. Now, the Celica stopped being produced in 2006, and the MR2 stopped being produced in 2007. So it's been a while. And they say that the Celica will be $42,000, but $65,000 for the MR2. So it'll be more expensive. I'd want the Celica anyways. So a couple of years from now, hey, we'll see what happens. Will they actually make it? Hey, Toyota usually does what they say they're going to do. And you can see they're going away from electrification. It's a regular gasoline engine vehicle. Well, guess what? There's only 2 SUVs left in America that have a manual transmission. Well, to me, that kind of makes sense because SUVs are all about convenience. You can fit all your kids, fit all your crap in it, right? And convenience means you don't have to shift. You put it in D, and away you go. But there are still 2 left. And interesting enough, both of them have the standard transmission as the base model. It isn't an option. The automatic is an option. Well, if you haven't guessed, the first one is the Ford Bronco. The gas mileage is exactly the same for the Bronco, whether it's manual or automatic, because manuals used to be more efficient, but of course, you got 8-speed transmissions, it's shifting through gears using computers, and you would probably get better gas mileage with an automatic because the guys at the standard are always either doing burnouts or revving them up too high, where the automatic transmission gets the shift points right to get better gas mileage. And if you get the 7-speed stick shift, 7 gears to play with, it's got 300 horsepower, so a lot of power. And what's the other vehicle? It's a Jeep Wrangler. It also comes with the manual transmission as the base model. The only problem with that is you get the base model, you can only pair it with a 3.6-liter V6. You can't have a 2-liter turbocharged 4 or the Hemi V8 because those only have automatics. And of course, they do have a hybrid, and a hybrid is an automatic. Honda used to, I believe, make a hybrid with the standard, with a manual transmission. Years ago, Honda did make a car that was a hybrid, and it had a manual transmission. They had a different system than Toyota. But now they're back to the system, same type that Toyota uses, so they're all automatic transmissions with hybrids. But Unlike the Bronco, which can get like 21 miles a gallon, not bad for some big vehicle like that, the Wrangler is one of the worst gas mileage ones out there. So if you're worried about gas, fuel economy, you're not going to be buying a Wrangler anytime soon. Do you wonder why diesel fuel is more expensive than gasoline? When I was a kid, it was the opposite. The diesel was much cheaper than regular gasoline and tons cheaper than high-test gasoline, the premium gasoline. Well, they want to have low-sulfur diesel for less pollution. In order to get low-sulfur diesel, there's a complex process they has to go through that takes time and costs money. They have to use distillate desulfurization. These units process heat the diesel, then they pressurize it, and it causes bonding with the sulfur, which is drawn away in a splitter. So it has to be further refined in order to be used. Now, there's a tax differential, but that's a bunch of nonsense. Because look, the U.S. Energy Administration has an excise rate for diesel at 24.9 cents a gallon. Gasoline is 24.3 cents per gallon. Only 0.6 of 1 penny difference in the tax. So forget the tax. It has nothing to do with the tax. It has to do with the fact that to have sulfur-free diesel, it's got to be refined further. See, originally when I was young, diesel was easier to refine. It didn't require as much complexity as doing the gasoline, and the diesel was cheaper to make. Well, now because of no sulfur diesel, it's the opposite. And that's the main reason that it costs more these days. So if you're buying a diesel, realize, hey, it might run a long time, but that fuel is going to cost you more as time goes on. They might even have more laws and make it cost even more as time goes on, but that's why. All right, I was reading some business news, and I got to agree with this guy. And he says, is Tesla finally in real financial problem? Well, he looked at the whole thing and said that, hey, Elon Musk, yeah, he's a dominant electric car maker in the United States, but he's facing falling profits and unfulfilled promises of future advances, such as his robots and his artificial intelligence and self-driving blah, 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 blah. Eventually, reality comes down. Do people want electric cars? A certain amount of people might, a certain amount of people might not. And realize, his whole thing is his technology. It just had breaking news. They have created solid-state batteries now. And they're only going to use them in high-end cars. And they said, hey, we're making them now. We're starting to ship them out. It's going to be high-end vehicles first because it costs a lot of money to make the solid-state batteries, right? But say you got a solid-state battery system, and it works. And it can go 600 miles. And it can recharge in 15 minutes. It's a game changer, right? There still needs an infrastructure for it, blah, 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 in the United States. But that's a solid base to start from. Well, Tesla doesn't have that solid base, and they'll be left in the cold. Imagine all the people who bought these Teslas, and they have battery systems that don't work as well. They weigh too much. Takes too long to charge them up. If a new boy comes in, there are solid states. My money personally would be on Toyota. They claim by 2027 or so, they're going to have solid state battery cars. And if anybody can do it, I'd say it'd probably be Toyota. And if they did, people would probably say, I trust Toyota. I'll try their electric car. If they did actually have ranges of 600 miles. Now, as I always say, I personally would never buy anything when it first comes out new. Look at the Toyota Tundras. The engines are blowing up. They're having all kinds of problems, right? I would still wait years after that to personally buy one, but it would be a gigantic step forward if Toyota made solid-state electric battery cars. But with the kind of push against electric cars these days, who knows? Maybe 2027, Toyota will look and say, there's no market for it. Or they'll make them, and they'll make a limited amount, a few thousands, to test the market to see what happens. Well, if you're getting older or you play a lot of golf, you're probably disgusted at the price of golf carts these days. Many golf carts start at 10 grand. They can go up to 16 grand. Well, there's a new boy on the block, and it's called the Condi Mini. It's a $3,900 golf cart, but it's more than that. It fits 2 people. Okay, it's not a big giant one. You can put 4 people in, but hey, it fits 2 people. And it's also foldable, so it takes up less space in your garage. And if you can see this picture here, check it out. It folds good enough that this guy's pushing it in the back of his Chrysler minivan with the seats out. Pretty good idea, you know? I'm always amazed about the price of golf carts because they're such simple things. They're just batteries and electric motors. These aren't Teslas, you know, that go 0 to 60 in 3 seconds and go, 200 miles an hour. It's not that. It's a golf cart. A lot of older people in Florida, Arizona, they use them for transportation in their little areas where they all live together. And people can golf with them, right? It's kind of disgusting that these carts were going from $10,000 to $16,000. These guys are selling for $3,900, and they kind of fold in to fit in a better place. Hey, all I have to say is if you build a better mousetrap, people are going to beat a path to your door. And this Condi company, Kandi, I think a lot of people probably go and start buying these things. At that price point, hey, they're just electric batteries and motors. They're not race cars. So, hey, good on these people for making something that finally isn't what I often see. Oh, brand new idea. Look at this. It's great. And then you look and it's $100,000, right? No. Price point means a lot. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.